Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Gym Challenge 11. Welcome back to Gym Challenge 11. No, we didn't have any. I mean, we had a cast earlier, but we're back to here for the cast top 4. Just because we didn't have many people today. So, yeah, just top 4 today. My name's Abu.
My name is Youngin. Nice to meet you.
So, yeah, today the first match is going to be Joshua Denk versus Hayley Aldworth. You probably seen them on stream before, actually. They're if you have seen them, Hayley's using the team she used yesterday and today, yeah, it consists of Rillaboom, Rillaboom, or not, yeah, Rillaboom, Dragonite, Iron Hands, Iron Bundle, Ogerpon Heartflame, and Fluttermane, right? And Joshua's team is quite familiar, right? It's the same team that Riley Factura has been doing really well with, and I'm pretty sure you guys are very well versed in it if you follow the scene. But if you're not, it is King Gambit, Amoonguss, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Dragonite, Jianpao, and Ogerpon Heartflame. So actually, kind of I mean, if you really think about it, kind of similar teams, like 4 of the same.
Yeah.
I mean, not 4 of the same, like maybe a couple of the same Pokemon. Out here, mainly the Dragonite and the Ogerpon Heartflame, right? And
Both tend to use a lot of like fast or offensive kind of techniques,
Yeah.
allowing for more damage output and lots of redirection is able to Josh's side. Yeah, and both have been really showing a very powerful standing from the start of the season and now in the marathon. Very good performance this yesterday with Hayley getting up. I think did really.
yeah. I mean, this is basically, I mean, I believe this was the finals of yesterday, right?
I believe so. I might be wrong.
Oh no, it was not. It was
Arnie.
It was Arnie.
Yes,
Sorry. Arnie took it. Yeah. So, Haley's been appearing on stream a lot these last few days.
Yes.
So, yeah, we have the leads here. Ogerpon, King Gambit versus Iron Hands Dragonite. Now, Iron Hands Dragonite puts on like a good amount of pressure on this, right? Because just because it's threatening. Again, since it has Aerial Ace, right?
Yes.
It has. What does it have? Aerial Ace? It's Haley's, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It also has Rock Slide.
Has Rock Slide. Actually, does not have Aerial Ace, but the Choice Band Outrage really actually does threaten pretty hard. Like, I mean, like. That Ogerpon's not living it if he gets it by.
I mean, having used the 222 Dozo myself, the amount of times I've clicked Outrage with Jianpao on the field has been very fun. And not many Pokemon can actually deal with that kind of damage out there. So here comes a change of position from Amoonguss from King Gambit and Rock Slide lock-in from Hayley's Dragonite.
That was a good safe play from Hayley, right? Because mainly because you don't know what the King Gambit wants to do, and she faked out the King Gambit, make sure it doesn't do anything too risky, right? Because I mean, it does have you know, I mean, it doesn't have too much super effective stuff, but Iron Head could hurt, right?
Right. Yes.
So, but she comes up straight with the Ivy Cudgel
with a critical hit. Yes, and that's a lot of damage.
There's a lot of damage. Ogerpon gonna take is that a crit too?
Not likely, but
that
again,
is a Choice Band Rock Slide, yeah.
Again, Choice Band Rock Slide doing a lot of damage to the Ogerpon Heartflame. Ogerpon Heartflame is not technically known for its physical bulk, to be honest. If you're looking for bulk, you would probably use Ogerpon Cornerstone
or like especially the Wellspring one.
Yeah, Wellspring is very bulky.
Yeah,
right? And typically the Fire Ogerpon is hyper offensive.
And actually, the Amoonguss living that onslaught of attacks was really good because actually Joshua was able to get a Spore off, and that actually removed this threat of Dragonite now, right? And he could actually safely, if he wants to, okay with the Amoonguss going down, he could Rage Powder and Ivy Cudgel into the Iron Hands pretty safely because of the guaranteed sleep from Dragonite next turn.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it does have Pollen Puff actually, so likely what you could do is Ivy Cudgel and Pollen Puff. Pollen Puff, but I think Joshua chooses to switch out the Amoonguss for later preservation, switching King Gambit for better work.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a little awkward to see if the no, he's actually just gonna straight up what's going to Terra?
Yeah.
He's tearing the Ogerpon to make sure he gets the KO, right? Because he got the crit last turn, which did have,
Right.
but we don't. He's not gonna crit again, right. So he's just getting the attack boost just to finish it off.
Getting that extra +1 will definitely guarantee a knockout on Hayley's Iron Hands, which is gonna be very important. Without the Iron Hands to pressure the King Gambit, King Gambit's kind of free to go wild essentially.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there's nothing that really procs its Defiant, unless you want an Icy Wind, which I would be not as
inclined. She wouldn't be inclined to do that.
Yes.
And not only that, actually, like even if the Dragonite wakes up next turn, right? King Gambit's not going to take much from the Rock Slide. We know it's locked into Rock Slide, and you know, Ogerpon could go for a safe protect, and King Gambit's like relatively unthreatened here unless she wants to bring in her Ogerpon Fire, which maybe she brought it in the back, you know,
which is like
and she actually did.
Yes.
So actually, King Gambit's still under threat. It does not have the option of Terra Dragon now,
right?
And it will be a speed tie between these Ogerpons depending on what they want to go for here.
Right.
Yeah. And maybe she's just gonna go. I could imagine also just double up to the Ogerpon as well, but the King Gambit's not boosted, and maybe Black Glasses. I've seen Black Glasses with that. Kowtow doesn't quite pick up the KO.
Yes.
Right. So, she goes on defensive here. That's actually quite stalling out the turns of sleep for the Dragonite here.
I'm not sure if the Spiky Shield or recoil damage actually picks up the KO.
Yeah, Ivy Cudgel's actually not a contact move. Yeah.
Right. So,
and Dragonite takes his turn and sleep, and he actually reads into that. He makes a very safe play and just goes attack into Ogerpon, attack into Dragonite, and that's really good. But I mean, I guess Hayley just didn't really want to take the risk of a speed tie. Right, and because if she lost, it would have been like equally catastrophic.
Exactly.
King Gambit just gets like a free attack off. Yeah. And then I believe she hasn't burned her Terra. I don't know. She didn't burn her Terra yet.
Yeah, she hasn't committed a Terra, unfortunately. Now when she does turn with the Dragonite, she'll have better chance to
one more turn.
Better chance to wake up. So there is the option of.
And now she's going for the terrestrialization now onto the Ogerpon, and maybe she is going to take the speed tie now.
Yeah. Actually, Grassy Glide.
Oh yeah, she does have Grassy Glide.
Yes.
Yeah. She did switch in the Rillaboom.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't think of that because I didn't notice that. It was a good call.
It's very similar to kind of clicking Expanding Force and switching in a Psychic Terrain. Which is something I do often when I'm playing on ladder, which is a very fun experience.
Oh no, it's fun. Yes. Clicking Expanding Force is fun, but Rillaboom is going to take a lot here. Yes. That's not a very defensively invested Rillaboom. That's probably pretty offensive.
Yes,
if you ask me.
Which does speak to the double glide tactic that she has brought in.
Yeah, now this King Gambit's kind of in a tough spot because I don't think the Sucker Punch KOs either of them, right? But actually, maybe it does with the Chien Pao coming on the field now, right?
So
it's gonna have to be careful, right? Mainly because actually King Gambit actually can't really go for the Sucker Punch here. Chien Pao can, but since Rillaboom and Ogerpon are naturally faster, they can just double glide into it. And then and that's probably what's gonna happen here, right? And
the double protect coming from Joshua's side, likely to stall out the grassy terrain and
fake out.
Right? Very powerful.
So yeah, Josh is I mean he is kind of on the back foot here. He does have a Mungus in the back though. I don't really if he did switch it out. So he can maybe potentially block if he reads it correctly. He could block a Grassy Glide coming into one of his Pokemon. And it's gonna be it's a little tough in the mind game, right? Because Hayley needs to know what slot to go into, but I think it would probably make sense for just Ivy Cudgel the Gambit slot, right? And then maybe Grassy Glide the Chien Pao, right? And just break its sash. But I mean, then Chien Pao could get an attack off, so it's like it's a little threatening. But I mean, I'm pretty sure. I believe the Chien Pao actually has Ice Spinner, so it can remove the terrain if it's allowed to get an attack off, which is actually pretty big in terms of Hayley's strategy.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's a little risky to let the Chien Pao get the attack off too.
Yes.
So, it actually just goes for it and does not pick up the KO. But does the Grassy Glide goes in? Was it a double glide?
No, it's a.
Ivy Cudgel. Okay. So, actually, onto the King Gambit. That's probably the KO. There's no way.
Likely the KO, and there it is. Yes.
Yeah. So, Sucker Punch. I guess she thought it would pick up the KO, but I think what he didn't want to happen was a double glide into the Chien Pao, so that's why he just didn't go for the Ice Spinner, which is honestly it's completely understandable, right? And now Mungus is back on the field, which is it's all right. I mean, he could get the sucker punch, but the redirection with rage powder, it would have become a one-on-one after that, I believe, right? Yeah, yeah. And Ogerpon's full health, so it's like it's kind of I think he has to navigate around this a little bit.
Yes, and let's not forget that Hayley still has her Dragonite in the back.
Yeah.
That can easily click exchange speed whenever
Yeah.
Taking a look here. Oh, and the Riddle Booster.
Oh yeah, no,
likely to preserve the fake out
for later. Yeah. So yeah, she has her Dragonite, and I believe Josh does not have his Josh just lost the King Gambit. Oh no,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Josh is only left with his Mungus and Jianpao, which will likely go down to the Ivy Cudgel, and now it's a 1-on-3 situation where likely you don't want to be in. Yeah.
Does he go for the attack into the Oh no, wait, no, he didn't go for an attack there.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
and there comes the forfeit from Josh's end, and this a convincing game.
Yeah, this is a convincing game from Hayley. She positioned really well there. She decided. I mean, she made the aggressive plays at the right times there.
Yes.
You know, like baiting the Terra from, because Josh did have to kind of commit that Terra early on to get rid of that Iron Hands, or else it would have been like really threatening.
Yes.
But luckily Hayley still brought the Ogerpon in the back, which is pretty huge, because that just meant King Gambit was still threatened.
Right. Her ability.
And it couldn't Terra Dragon, which is usually what it does in front of these ones, right?
Yeah. And I think Hayley did a really good job of essentially baiting out Joshua's Terra here with having a lot of pressure field, and I think that's really what this kind of top 4 match is going to be all about: who puts on pressure more and who falls under kinds of pressures.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Josh has to go back to the drawing board and come up with differently, take advantage of, kind of put the pressure back on him.
Yeah, and it seems like he's actually based on the Pokemon he's choosing, he's going for actually a lot more aggressive route here. Maybe just not allowing Hayley any breathing room, but the Iron Hands is really a thorn in its side, as you saw, right?
Yep.
It can't really be allowed to get any attacks off, considering he does have a lot of Iron Hands weak Pokemon on his team.
Right.
Yeah, like mainly King Gambit, Urshifu, we know. Dragonite Tis still takes a lot. Jianpao also takes a lot. So,
having that Jianpao Urshifu lead allows for a lot of damage on the board, but Iron Hands does have to fake out, which can go into the Urshifu Scarf to out protect. So this is not the most favorable lead for Joshua, but he still puts on more pressure than he doesn't make more plays than he.
Yeah, and then actually the Urshifu here is Terra Poison, right?
Yeah.
So if he does want to continue going for an aggressive play, even if he gets faked out, it's not going to be doing too much.
Right.
If he gets hit into a Horn Leech.
Right, and he has a defensive Terra to back up.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not. It looks kind of bad based on the type matchups here, but I mean, you can weasel his way out of it, right? Yeah, and there you go. He's going for Terra Poison. If he gets faked out, it's fine. But I think, oh, okay.
And the Overpower switch.
Yeah, so potentially he's Hayley's just gonna attack with the Iron Hands, and maybe Jianpao. I didn't see if it clicked Protect or not.
I believe Jianpao did click Protect. Here comes the Terra on.
This is a good bait by Hayley there.
Yeah, and this is something that Gavin, who I played with multiple times, has always given me advice on, is to put on the maximum pressure as possible, and then not that exact pressure. Putting on as much as pressure, and then not doing what the opponent expects you to do is one way to kind of waste resources on the opponent.
Yeah, and Terra's like a one time per turn. I mean, per game thing, right? So if you just waste that, and now he's freely able to play around the fact that it's just poison, right?
Yes.
Doesn't need to go for the mind games, but I mean, does survive.
Yes.
Wild charge there. And,
there's no Grassy Glide.
Yeah. So actually, Hayley has more fake out pressure now, which is actually really good, right? Because what she can really do now is just like fake out the Urshifu. Even if Jianpao protects, you can just fake out the Urshifu, like Wild Charge again. Right, and since Sword of Rune's up, it's almost like honestly the fake out might KO with Sword of Rune.
Oh wow.
maybe, depending on how offensive her really loop.
Yeah, and as we saw, there wasn't that much bulk on it's likely a very hyper offensive, very strong, aggressively.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's Terra Water interesting. You usually see fire on Rillaboom, but water is pretty decent in this situation.
Right.
Oh, it actually does not go for the fake out.
Could it be going for the Wood Hammer or YouTube?
So I mean, maybe Hayley just thinking that the Urshifu is going to switch out, so she just didn't bother going for the fake out, which is actually really good read on Josh's part here. And it takes the Ice Spinner. It still takes a lot.
Yeah, it still takes a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, did it go for the high horsepower or him? And goes for the Wood Hammer on the.
Probably still picks up the KO. Yeah, as we know, this is probably really offensive Rillaboom.
Yes, so. And with Sword of Ruin on the field.
Yeah. Like, a combination of all that, even the resisted, it just takes it out. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it does seem to be relatively even game, but I mean, it is, it does actually crucially. Josh does have the Ogerpon in the back.
Yes.
Right. And Hayley doesn't have any way to reset the terrain immediately, right? So she can't go for these grassy glides, if she wants to. So actually, the Hornleech is relatively okay, but I believe she does also have the Ogerpon in the back.
Yes, she does have.
Yeah, so I mean, since she has the Ogerpon in the back, it could easily take that Hornleech, right?
Yes.
So maybe I didn't see what Josh clicked actually. Maybe he actually just read into it and just go for an Ivy Cudgel, because Ivy Cudgel probably KOs that Rillaboom with how squishy it is. So does he get the read right?
The exchange read does suck. Ice
Spinner, and that's probably gonna KO the Dragonite. That's not multi-scale or anything. So just.
That's why you run multi-scale, everyone. Just kidding.
And nah, then you get flinched, right?
Yes,
so
then
like,
you get flinched. That's the problem.
So it actually goes for the safe. Again, that was the safest play you could have made, right? I mean, I don't know if the Ivy Cudgel might have KO'd with Sword of Ruin. It's like hard to say.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, it might have.
The lack of bulk on Rillaboom might have been able to make that happen.
Yeah, but now the double glide's back online.
And the fake out pressure.
And the fake out pressure. So I think Josh kind of just has to double protect here.
Right.
Or if he's maybe a little ballsy, he can also just protect Xianpao and go on the offensive.
Right.
Because I doubt a double glide would be able to KO the Ogerpon here, right? And we come down to a speed type or another. Oh no, it just goes for double protect. Yeah.
To kind of dodge the fake out. But when the grassy glide does come out, you can click follow me, start chipping damage with Xianpao. Yeah, and yeah, it's a little hard now, hard there too, right? So I mean, but actually, interesting thing what you can go for, right, is if she's willing to sack the King Gambit, right, she could also, if she expects an attack, if Josh expects an attack on the Xianpao, you just sack the King Gambit and just go for like an Ivy Cudgel into either Ogerpon or just go for a Hornleech into Rillaboom, right? So that's also actually another line of play you could go for. But maybe he wants to save the King Gambit just for like bulk later. I think he wants to get rid of this Ogerpon at least, right? Because Rillaboom can't do too much into King Gambit other than like maybe a crit high horsepower or something. The Rillaboom's kind of low, so like probably gonna survive. And, we're thinking about a bunch of turns ahead, right? But I mean, it all depends. Oh, and actually goes for the Sucker Punch. Does not get the read there. Very interestingly, doesn't go for the follow me there. It's a smart play from Joshua's then, knocking out the first dodge and grassy glide from coming to. Unfortunately, it does pick up the knockout on him, but
this Ivy Cudgel is probably gonna go right into this Ogerpon here. Yep, and it might not get the KO, but it'll do a significant amount. No, just one.
And does a lot of damage actually.
Yeah, and now I mean Josh's end game is like pretty pretty set, right? All he really needs to do is just like Ivy Cudgel and like kowtow here, and he doesn't even need much, but I mean,
guaranteeing this using the Sucker Punch prevents the or discourages Grassy Glide.
Yeah.
Actually, pretty. Who ties it up very nicely.
Yeah, no, he adapted really well. He
Yeah.
made sure he preserved what he needed to.
Yeah.
He got rid of the Iron Hands like pretty early, actually,
Pretty early, yes.
without actually committing his Terra, which
Terra.
was really crucial then, right? Because he needed that Terra for the Urshifu to stay on the field. So yeah, very well played, very well, good adaptation from Josh.
Right, good
And Hayley now needs to come back with the crackback, and they both need to adapt to whatever they think the other person's adaptations will be, right?
Yeah.
And that's how game 3s usually go.
Yeah.
Right, and usually when someone's ahead, it's on onus of the person who lost to do it.
Right.
But when you're even like this, it's like a little, you gotta dig deep into the bag of tricks.
Yeah, and often, sometimes you second guess yourself. But this is where you have to stick to your guns. You have to pressure the opponent with effective plays. And often a lot of the opponents also exhausted from a long series of games. So taking advantage of that.
Yeah, just both of them just played like 4 rounds, and they're both 3-1. So it took a lot to win the first three games. It probably took a lot even in those losses they took, right? So I mean, a lot of strong players here today, So
yeah, absolutely. And we see that Joshua adapts by the Dragon. Instead of bringing the King Gambit or Moose, he opts to go for Urshifu, Chien-Pao, Overcon, and Dragonite. Potentially accounting for change in composition. Very interesting.
Yeah, Hayley. What I did realize is Hayley did again bring a lot of Pokemon for King Gambit,
right?
Which is why Josh couldn't really bring it in,
right? You had to preserve it.
Yeah. So, but then if you bring Dragonite now, you resist almost all of those moves, right? Like you take a chunk from like Iron Hand's Wild Charge, but like other than that, none of their moves really threaten it too much. Right? So now he has a kind of like a defensive pivot in the back in case they go for those fire or fighting with.
Right, and we saw in round 3, the Riley Factor played me, actually took advantage of Dragonite's bulk, and kind of took the game with it. Very powerful. And here we see Dragonite Mirror Lead, but with Chien-Pao and Fluttermane on opposing ends. What do you think?
This is actually a really interesting one, because this Fluttermane actually on Hayley's end is Focus Sash, so it actually could take 2 hits, right? So it can't just fall to one like really strong sucker punch. Even like it was probably bulky enough to survive it anyway.
Right.
But I mean, like it doesn't really have an incentive to Terra Fairy here, right? Because it's immune to Dragonite stuff, and it's also it's not gonna faint to the Chien-Pao sucker punch.
Right.
But maybe if Hayley wants to preserve the sash, she could like protect here and maybe go for a play with Dragonite. But Dragonite doesn't really do. Hayley's Dragonite actually does a lot here, just because it's Choice Band Rock Slide.
Right. Oh, and the
but she actually switches out though. That's very interesting. Probably getting under threat from Chien-Pao.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The Ice Spinner damage is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah. So let's see if Josh actually gets this right. I didn't see what he targeted.
He targets the normal Terror on the Dragonite. Likely to resist the damage coming from Fluttermane. We don't want. Naturally, you don't want this Dragonite to go down so quick.
Yeah. And now actually does go for the Sucker Punch. And did Josh go for the double up into it? I did not see the targeting.
No, I believe he targeted using the Ice Spinner onto the currently Iron Hand slot, which was previously Dragonite. And both ends lose out on their slash, but who the real winner of this is?
Well, I mean, that
seems like an even trade.
It seems like an even trade. Like if you look at the health, both are in their sash and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, now there's a mind game of whether Hayley's gonna protect or switch out for the Sucker Punch, right?
Right.
And Iron Hands is like right there.
Right.
So it's quite interesting because actually the Dragonite cannot be faked out by the Iron Hands, right? And I could easily go right into the Fluttermane. Right. So Josh is actually kind of at a pretty decent advantage here, as long as the Fluttermane doesn't protect, right? And
the fake out.
And the fake out comes out here. And we actually crucially don't see a protect from the Fluttermane.
Right.
So
the normal Terror Extremes coming into the Iron Hand.
No Sword of Ruin, but does a little bit of it, And actually goes for Icy Wind.
Oh, but the misses!
Oh, no.
Oh, this is unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean that was at least it was valuable chip, right?
Right,
Like
it was valuable chip. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And now we have the Urshifu who can.
Now Urshifu's actually putting on a lot of pressure here, right? Like we have Aqua Jet that he can't protect, and Iron Hands can just get into a Surging Strikes at this point, right? So Hayley is actually in a actually that KO Hayley took actually just gave a good free switch in to Josh here.
And sometimes on the contrary, you don't want to knock out somebody.
Yeah,
right. And because that gives a free switch in, and that gives a better board positioning as opposed to you retaining your current board, right? That often leads to some unfortunate demise, right?
Yeah, and actually, very interestingly, we don't see a protect coming out from the.
Oh, and the Iron Hands
barely lives. And Dazzling coming out. Is the Urshifu gonna fall? It doesn't. It's bulky enough to live.
Right.
And the Aerial Ace comes out now.
Right.
This Iron Hands is relatively doesn't have any.
It's wild charge.
Yeah, oh, it actually goes with wild charge. Now it faints from the yeah. So like even so the Iron Hands falls, and that is 2 Pokemon down for Hayley.
Right.
With just like within a few turns.
Within a few turns.
And then now
Joshua also has 2 Pokemon left, but now we need to understand that Hayley still hasn't shown our 4th Pokemon. Oh, when it's the Ogerpon. So this is another Ogerpon Dragonite mirror. It's a very intensive game right here that we're seeing. Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be hard, right? Because actually, Hayley does have a little bit of more of an advantage here, right? I mean, we don't know the speed tiers on these Dragonites, but the thing is that the stuff coming out from Hayley's Dragonite's a lot more powerful, right? Because it's choice band, and it's a little hard. The Dragonite doesn't have the crucial resistances from the for the Ogerpon either. So the Ogerpon could just like boom, and Assault's Dragonite, while it is very bulky, can't really do much damage as you would think. Right, and you get out damaged by choice band naturally. Yeah. So it's gonna be a little hard. I mean, both Ogerpons could always follow me, stuff like that. Right. And both Terrazers. Oh, but actually the speed tie. Either speed. Oh no. Okay, speed tie. Oh, it lives. And it lives. And it lives. And the Ivy Cudgel coming from the Ogerpon. Okay, so this is actually really huge. If this Ivy Cudgel manages to connect here and maybe get the KO, Josh is in really good position. Yes, Josh is definitely in a good position. And it has a high crit rate, so let's see what happens. Ivy Cudgel going into the Ogerpon for the knockout. Oh yeah, it's really low. Yeah, we took Chip earlier, right? So now actually Josh might actually have this. Right. Yeah, because unless the E-Speed crits, it's not gonna. You can start spiky shielding to get the chip damage off. Chip damage off too. Yeah. So he's just playing it safe. Right. You want to whittle down the Dragonite. None of Ogerpon's move actually hit for super effective for neutral damage, which might come off as unfortunate to Hayley here. Notably, Hayley didn't use her Terra yet. But I don't think she wants to. Right. She does not want to use her Terra here. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Depends on how much the Ivy Cudgel does. Ooh, it's only a chip. Enough. Yeah. I think Josh needs to basically just get a bunch of spiky shields off. Right. Yeah. I mean that was I actually didn't realize that the Dragonite had so much health left there. Right. Yeah. I was thinking it was low, but I got the 2 HPs mixed up. Right. The 2 HPs were mixed up. Now he has to go for multiple spiky shields, which he fails unfortunately. And Hayley's gonna take it. Yeah. And Hayley takes the last Ogerpon with an extreme speed very convincingly without even using her Terra, which was a smart play on her end to resist the she actually didn't have to like Terra at all. Right. This entire match, right? Her defensive profile on a lot of her mons were like pretty favored in her position. Right, exactly. And Hayley, despite having lost game 2 in a very rapid manner, really brought it back in game 3. Taking advantage of the bulk that her Pokemon has and without using her Terra actually. Takes game 3 very convincingly and very strong. Yeah, good. That was a good showing by both players. Right. It was a great performance from both players. The adaptations that each player made, on top of the adaptations that they made, and it was a great exchange of kind of wits and damage. Yeah. Because I mean, like, actually, the first game looked really dominant in Hayley's favor, right? Hayley's favor. So that was a good adaptation. But I mean, Hayley played out the end game like just slightly better, right? And
it happens. But I mean, Josh at least tried to play to his outs,
Right.
just getting multiple spiky shields and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, and that was a great match. So actually do not know. Actually no, I think Gio's walking up, so I think it's Gio versus Hayley.
Without a break. This is exciting.
That was we had that yesterday in
Yes.
Top Cut. We're having it in finals again. So yeah, very gonna be another banger.
It's gonna be very. It's looking very dominant for Hayley this week. I hope she doesn't take all the CP.